Today's tutorial is called Line Art. We're going to use tools in Illustrator, pen, shape, stroke and fill, gradient, arrange, layers and place. This slide highlights the steps involved in tracing an image, applying colour and a gradient. Firstly, you're going to open your Illustrator Basics file where you created your pattern last lesson. You would download a file called Noodle from Compass Resources and save that to your computer. Once that's saved, we need to place it into our Illustrator file. Go File, Place, find the image, and it will appear on your file. Make sure the black arrow is selected and move this image to the middle of your second page. You want to rescale the image so it's quite large. Hover over the corner, hold down Shift and drag the corner out. Once the image is placed, we need to make sure that the Illustrator file is set up correctly. Ensure that the left-hand toolbox is visible. If it's not, click Window and make sure Tools is selected. On the right-hand side, we need to make sure we can see Color, Color Guide, Swatches, Stroke, and Layers. If you cannot see these, click on the top window and make sure you can tick them. As we're tracing an object today, we need to make sure we have a second layer. We do that by clicking on the Layers icon on the right-hand toolbar, and we hover over an icon that says Create New Layer. Click, and you will see Layer 2 come up. As we are working on Layer 1 at the minute, we need to make sure that we create a padlock by clicking in the empty square next to the eye. Whatever layer is selected, that is the layer that you are allowed to work on. As we have locked that layer, no icons will now work. We're going to work on layer 2 while we trace the noodle bowl. Make sure this one is selected. We're now going to use the pen tool to trace over our noodle bowl. It's important when you use the pen tool to create fully closed shapes. This illustration is made up of 5 different circular shapes: the purple, the blue, the green, the red, and the black. I'm going to demonstrate the easiest way to create the blue shape outline. Start by clicking the pen tool on the left-hand corner of your noodle bowl and release. The next click, you're going to hold down and pull. 2 little rods are going to come out from the anchor points. These are handy in allowing you to change the shape of the circle. I'm going to continue to create an outline. Now you'll notice that I cannot see my line clearly. You must make sure that the stroke color is filled with a line that you'll be able to see. So double click on the stroke, highlight black and click OK. You must make sure the fill is turned off. The line is turned on. You continue creating the outline of the bowl. Click, hold and pull. When you come up to the right-hand corner, we're going to click in the middle of the noodle bowl at the back and drag out our anchor points. This is going to create a nice curve. We're going to click one more time, almost back where we started. And if I hover my pen tool over where we started, there will be a circle next to the pen tool. That means that the shape is fully enclosed. Now we're going to click the black arrow and click off the shape and have a look. If you need to make any adjustments, you can zoom in by clicking Control and the plus sign. Adjustments are made by clicking the white direct selection arrow and highlighting your line. You can move anchor points by clicking on them and dragging. You can also change the shape of your line by moving the rods. If you would like to just move one rod, make sure it's highlighted, click Alt and see how you can drag and pull just one side of this circle. Once you're happy with your line, click the black arrow and click on the artboard to deselect. We're then going to click the pen tool and create our next circular shape. I'm going to work on the purple. Click, and click, hold and drag, following the outline of the noodle bowl. You continue this process for each of the shapes. Now that we've created our line work, there is no need for the image behind. We need to go back to our layers, select the layers on the right-hand toolbar, and make sure layer 1 is highlighted. Unlock this layer. You may then now click on the background where the noodle bar was and drag this one to the left or right, or simply delete. Lock this layer again and let's go back to layer 2. Now we need to apply colour. We do this using the gradient tool. If the gradient tool does not appear on your right-hand menu, go to the top menu bar and click Window and select Gradient. We now want to select one of the shapes that we have made by using the black selection arrow. We're going to make sure Fill is in front of the stroke, and we're going to apply a gradient by clicking on the gradient slider. As you can see, the gradient slider has filled the shape. We can adjust the gradient slider by clicking on the icon and moving it up and down, and you can see how that adjusts the colour. We can also use our swatches to bring another colour onto the gradient slider by clicking and dragging. You can easily delete colours on the gradient slider by clicking and dragging them off. Select the most appropriate gradient for this part of your image. Once you're happy with the gradient applied, there is no need for a thick black outline. Click on the stroke and make sure you click None so it deselects. You're going to experiment with applying gradient to each of the shapes as you work your way from the bottom to the top. Click the next shape, apply a gradient, make adjustments, bring colours on and off the gradient scale until you're happy. Click on the stroke and deselect. Continue this process until each of the shapes are filled. Throughout this process, you will find that some shapes are positioned behind others. To change the positioning and arrangement, select the shape, right-click, arrange, bring to front, forward, or back, whichever is most appropriate. Another feature of the gradient tool is the angle key. If you want to use this, select your shape and test and trial different linear angles. Select one that is most appropriate. The final finishing touch is to use the ellipse tool to create the hole in your noodle bowl that's used for the chopsticks. Once you've created 2 circles, you can use the direct selection key to highlight them and colour them in. When you're happy with the colours of your noodle bowl, it's time to group the whole image. Use your black arrow selection tool and click and drag over all pieces of your image. Everything will be highlighted. Click Ctrl G to group. We can rescale the image so it's slightly smaller. The last step in this process is to create a background for our noodle bowl. We can do this by using any shape in the shape toolbox on the left. I'm going to use the rectangle tool to create a background. I can colour my rectangle, make sure that it's arranged to back, and create a fill colour. The last step is to click on the type tool. We're going to give our image a heading. Click on your artboard and type line art. You're going to then tell me what tools in Illustrator you used. Once that's completed, make sure that you save this to your hard drive.